Welcome to Nugget 11 with Steve Grohman. It's experiment time. This experiment is something not only fun and extremely shocking, but something anyone can do at any time. Steve, can you tell us how you do this at your meetings?
Usually Sunday morning, I announce to the people, have all the children, especially the young ones, bring a little Ziploc with some dirt in it. And I tell them I want all different types of dirt. I want dirt from everywhere. You know, the garden, the churchyard, the ball field, the beach, the garden, all kinds of different dirt. I can say sometimes if you have colored dirt for some reason, because sometimes people have green and orange dirt, whatever, bring some of that. At the half point of the next service, I will have all the kids that brought dirt come up, and I have a big 2-gallon jug, glass jar. And we'll have the children that brought the dirt pour their own dirt in the jar. And then when it's all in there, one bag after the other, you can see the different colors, different bandings.
And they probably have a lot of fun doing that, right?
Oh, they have a blast. I absolutely love it. And everybody wants to be a part of it. So anyway, then after it's all in there, I put the lid on it and I shake it up, roll it around, make sure it's all blended really, really well. Let everybody look. Okay, you don't see any layering here, right? It's a pile of dirt in a jar. Then we always have a pitcher of water and we pour water over the dirt line. In other words, first we have an earth and then we pour the water over it above the earth. And so now we have a flooded earth. The Bible says that the flood lasted a long time. We'll get to the timing and all that and the flood mechanism and all in another nugget. But what I do then is shimmy that jar. Just shimmy it around and around and around, and also have a wooden spoon with a long handle, and I stir it to represent the lifting and settling that would take place if the Bible's true. Anybody goes to a beach at high tide, they can see the water come on in and it rolls back out. It goes back and forth and back and forth. Well, if everything under the earth, under heaven is underwater, the way the Bible says, then everything is underwater. Which means there is no beach showing, there is no land showing to stop those high tides, so it would just continually, all the whole time the flood is going on, roll around and around and around. I'll shimmy the thing and I'll stir it for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then let it sit there. Before the end of the night, people watch those layers form right before their eyes. And they're absolutely blown away by it. They just look at it and say, watch this happen. Moving water automatically sorts the items it's carrying by the density of the item. As this racing water is going around and around this whole earth during the time of Noah's flood, you would expect to see the layering effects just like we show in the jar. And so when people look out, anywhere they cut a highway through, anywhere out west especially, you can see where you have many, many layers of strata. You can always see them nice, neatly stacked right on top of each other. We do an experiment showing the mechanism, what the Bible describes on a grand scale. We do it on a small scale right there in front of everybody, and everybody absolutely loves it.
Back to this layering thing. You're saying that the items are sorted by their density? Does that mean like the heavier, the cloddier, the thicker, the dirtier, whatever layers go to the bottom and then the finer layers are on top?
Essentially, yes, that's true. There are all kinds of mechanisms that taken place during the flood when the fountains of the great deep broke up and caused more to come in and stir and all that. As a general rule, yes, the density of those items, the heavier ones will sort first, then the lighter ones on top. All of those layers, usually in any given jar when we do this, there's usually between 7 and 9 layers that form in just the amount of dirt that we bring in. And when you realize the whole earth is underwater, you can see for a long period of time, because the flood was a year long, that's a lot of time for that sorting to take place. The point is we have the mechanism. We'll get to the stratigraphy and the rock layers and all that in another nugget. What's important to remember is all of those layers from the top to the bottom in that jar were all formed at the same time. They were formed within minutes of each other. The whole thing only takes an hour usually. It sorts out by the time we're finished that night. All those layers are the same age. But evolution teaches they're hundreds of millions of years old. The older ones are at the bottom, the younger ones are at the top. And that's just not true.
So what takes minutes in a church took about a year overall or less time?
Yes.
All right. Well, we've included the recipe in this nugget.
It's an excellent
a great family
homeschool thing, a family thing, a Christian school thing, or whatever. Just
Sunday
for people
school.
To do. Sunday school rooms. Have the kids bring dirt and just put it in there. And it'll settle out every single time. And when people have a visual example of what the Bible, on a small scale, of what the Bible says on a large scale, it is so much easier to realize that, yep, and they never look at the layers the same. They will never look at it again the same after they see how that sorts out.
Got dirt? Keep watching our nuggets. And while you're at it, tell 10,000 of your closest friends about our YouTube channel.
Like, subscribe, hit that little bell, and tell others about our YouTube channel. Thank you.